Well, it's time for everybody's favorite part of the month, or, well, month, he says. We're talking about the updates. Yes, Utopia patch notes and Banks patch notes have finally arrived. Version 1.50. Do expect a incremental update to arrive sometime in the near future, most likely after the release of 1.5. As, incremental updates go, there will most likely be a couple of glitches and or bugs available that the QA team did not grab, or they managed to grab but were not deemed important enough to fix at the time. Let's get underway, shall we? Expansion features. These are for Utopia. This is paid content. Let's get that out of the way first. Let's kick off with mega structures. Habitat stations have been added to the game and requires Void-born Ascension Perks. They function like planets once built but have their own set of buildings. The buildings are actually being covered in the Death Diary as well. Well, not so much a Death Diary. Interesting. It's something we've been talking about for a long time. Playing tall is now possible. Very excited about that and really interested to see how this is actually executed within the game. Ring worlds have been added to the game. Finally, we can have our, ring-style objects within our solar system. It requires a circle of live Ascension perk, buildable in multiple stages around most stars, and functions like 4 size 25 Gaia planets. However, it also consumes all planets in a system. I'm waiting for the first run to be finished with nothing but Dyson spheres and ring worlds being available within the game. So we'll see. It's not an achievement or anything along those lines, but you get a general idea here. But yeah, 4 size 25 Gaia worlds is pretty damn huge. And I also wonder whether or not you can rebuild some of the Fallen Empire ring worlds as well. Dyson spheres have been added to the game. Requires the Galactic Wonders Ascension perks, buildable in multiple stages. Same goes for the Science Nexus and the Sentry Array, all requiring Galactic Wonders Ascension perks. And of course, as soon as I get my hands on the Utopia, I will do individual videos for all of these. Moving on towards said Ascension perks. 20 Ascension perks have been added to the game. An Ascension perk is unlocked whenever a tradition category is finished. In addition, 1 Ascension perk can be unlocked through technology. I believe there is 6 of them in total. Ascension perks have 3 major paths that are exclusive. These are, of course, biological, mechanical, and psionic. The psionics have the Shroud. Video about that will be coming up as well. Indoctrinate natives. Observation stations have a new mission types that will attempt to change primitive civilizations' ethics over time to mirror your empires. It looks like we're going to have to redo the infiltrating alien species worlds video. I believe this was literally the first video I put out. That or the genome differentiation tech video that we did. But yeah, we're going to have to archive quite a lot of stuff to account for this. Don't you worry. I've booked time to actually execute all these properly just to get those into your hands over the next few weeks. Unique Civics. Fanatic Purifiers is a civic that gives you a significant military bonus. I believe it's 33% to firepower as well as army power, and it will automatically purge any alien pops in your empire. All diplomatic options are unavailable. Most likely war will be available. A rival, most likely. I haven't seen it yet, etc. We can actually have a video about unique civics as well. Syncretic Evolution is a civic that allows you to start with a second workhorse slaves species on your homeworld. So yeah, let's say that Homo erectus never really went extinct and we used them as slaves to do other things that we wouldn't want to do. So that's the idea, basically. Mechanics is a civic that allows you to start with a few robot pops and the technology to build more. This is a fascinating one, and this opens the door to the stuff regarding the synth uprising, and basically puts robots everywhere very early on, which makes robots very, very dangerous, to say the least. Hive Mind is a special ethics, prevents you from having any other ethics, so you can be anything. None of your population will be affected by happiness. Pops with the hive mind ethic may only live in hive mind empires, and they will slowly die if they're in a non-hive mind empire. So any planet you capture from a hive mind, their population would slowly but steadily die. What a fascinating little experience that'll be. Ascension theory technology has been added to the game. Mega engineering technology added to the game. Traits, 5 new traits exclusive to the biological ascension path. We'll have to take a look at that as well. Psionic shields have been added to the game. We'll take a look at those as well. Thank you, Outlook account. Our settings are out of date. Thank you for ruining my video. Habitats are added to the game. We already knew about this. 3 new purge types. I'm looking forward to this the most. Neutering, processing, and forced labor. Processing, you eat them, and neutering, well, chemical castration, and so they cannot reproduce. And forced labor is you work them to death. Very nice. Very, very nice. New slavery type, domestic servitude, battle thralls, and livestock. Battle thralls get great bonuses for armies. Livestock are food. Do not produce any minerals, energy, and research. And 25 new minutes of audio have been added by our good friend Andreas Waldetoft. Andreas, wherever the hell you are awesome. Apparently there is some Star Trek influenced audio in this. I am looking forward to this. If you're listening to my voice today, you think, my God, ASpec, you're very uplifted at the moment. Well, that's because the patch notes are here, and those always do good. All right. For all you people out there that are like, Utopia can go to hell. I just want the patch notes 1.5. I'll take a look. All right, what do we got? Added authoritarian ethics. Added egalitarian ethics. Removed collectivist and removed individualist. Those will replace each other, respectively. Government system has been completely reworked, and civics have been added to the game, allowing for more customization when creating your empire's government. Huge overhaul. Massive. We'll have to take a look at that. Traditions and unity have been added to the game. Once again, a huge overhaul. We will take a look at the individual trees and what they do, respectively, in their separate videos. Food is now stored and distributed empire-wide instead of being local to individual planets. Oh my God, we can finally have agricultural worlds. There's a storage cap. Surplus food contributes to growth. So if you have a low cap and, well, yeah. Basically, your planets, if you have a decent amount of storage and free migration, they will never run themselves into famine as they arrive on the new worlds. Pups now have a monthly mineral cost called consumer goods. There's 3 tiers of this: Utopia, low, and terrible, I think. I'm not entirely sure what the details are there, but we will do a video about those at some point in time. Reworked ethics attraction. Ethics has always been like black magic to me. I really should read up on it. Apparently, Pops can now have only one ethic, and their attraction to different ethics depends on a wide variety of factors, such as their traits, governance ethics and policies, and local conditions on the planet. Basically, Pops can drift back and forth between ethics, depending on what sort of thing they want, of course. Rework the faction system. Finally, we're seeing the faction system being reworked with political movements with specific issues rather than just rebels. I'm looking forward to see my militarist faction controlling in a despotic fashion because my desire to know more is intensifying. Unrest is a new mechanic that affects planets, which means you need to put armies on them. Or if happiness on Pops and slaves are not all that great. So yeah, unrest is now a thing. So large, sprawling empires may actually fracture now, which I find really cool. Added the ability to displace Pops as an alternative method of purging. Basically, this is the same as in Crusader Kings 2 as ejecting the Jews from your territory where you take all their stuff. In this particular case, you just displace the Pops and they're no longer allowed to come back. Pops that are being purged now sometimes manage to escape to other empires, basically like a underground railroad. I never really understood that term, underground railroad. I'm not entirely sure what the hell is up with that. When I was like 12 and I first heard about that term, I was like, underground railroad? Did they have an awesome railroad going all the way from South Virginia all the way up to upstate New York? That's a long-ass tunnel. Yeah, it turns out it's not like that at all, but yeah, you get the general idea there. And a new policy, which pops are allowed to live on an Empire's core. All right, no Xenos allowed on my core worlds. Okay. Add a policy that determines whether an Empire tolerates pre-sentients living on their planets. That's actually really cool. Uplifting is not something that I do very often. Uplifting is actually a mechanic that I think is incredibly underused and should be done a little bit more with. Maybe we'll see a little bit about that in the future. But apparently you can purge them now. Out of the music player. Oh, that's cool. All right, cool. Species rights. You can set now your species rights to anything you want. You want an underclass? Boom, you got yourself an underclass. You want a military service class? You got yourself a military service pass, etc. Very cool. Also, slavery and purging is handled on this interface, so that's very useful. You no longer have to go to individual pops and basically enslave all of them, so everything is handled on a more macro level. Very cool. Out of the war demands to dismantle frontier outposts. It doesn't really matter. I generally just shoot them anyway because they're weak as fuck, so whatever. Engine trails will now be colored to the Empire's primary color. This was also written by an American and or Canadian because this is not how you spell color or colored. Sweetie, what is the proper way of writing color? O-U-R. You are correct. And who said that Britain ever gave the world anything good? All right, the Kingdom of Yonderim Prescripted Empire has been reworked. I have never played as this pre-scripted empire. I wanted to do a video on prescripted empires for a long-ass time, but I never really got around to it, mainly because I couldn't find the events. I think they're in the Galactic Features file, but yeah, I really couldn't be bothered actually looking at it. I'm actually quite surprised that they have a prescripted functionality because there's actually quite a lot of them. You are no longer at war with rebels when they take over a planet. Okay, that actually makes kind of sense from the AI uprising point of view. Stone Age civilization now work like other primitives and have pops instead of being simple tile blockers. Thank God. I did mention this in the Dev Diary a couple of weeks ago. They are a little bit annoying. And this is now we get to the most annoying part of this Dev Diary. And I'm going to have to adjust the video for it. Specifically, the strategic resources video, which I only made like a month ago. Added Urantic Crystal as new strategic resources that improves energy weapon damage. God damn it. Becoming a patron of the Artisan Trope Enclave now has an upfront cost. I've never actually done an Enclave video. Should probably do that. Being a patron of the Artisan Troop gives you a 15% Unity generation bonus. That sounds like a lot. I have no idea if it is a lot, but it does sound like a lot. It is now possible to terraform barren planets to be terraforming candidates if you possess atmospheric manipulation tech. I'm assuming this is going to be very similar to pre-sentient pops on planets where you can uplift them, etc. Only in this case, it's on a planetary level, which is kind of cool. Pioneer Terminal has been purged from the game. I know a couple mods that are going to be broken now. I never really used them. I didn't think they were particularly good. I'm sure there was a good reason why they have been removed. It could just be that they've become a perk. Wouldn't be surprised. You can now change the room background in the ruler customization view. Best part of this update. Oh no, of course, new shader for stations that are under construction. Being the first to find a precursor homeworld now yields a significant amount of Unity. So any of the Cybrex or the other ones basically gives you a bunch of Unity. It's not really clarified. I should probably do a video on the precursor empires as well. Precursor anomalies are now player only. That is super useful, and now they will actually continue popping up. When your patronage ends, the Artisan Troop will contact you for renewal. That is also useful. It's currently also something that comes with the Zura Gel Corp, etc. The Limbo event chain has been expanded. Now, when I initially read this, I thought by myself, the Limbo event chain has been expanded. So, me being me, I went to do some digging, and it turns out that this is a event that is attached to an achievement where you find uploaded files in space that are basically neural patterns, and you can relift, Bring a species back alive that's been dead for a long time. And even then, you can have a fallen empire contact you and say, hey, yo, those fallen aliens over there, they're my boys, etc. Technology, we already covered some of the technology when it comes to the actual paid update, but there's a whole bunch of new technologies in the free update as well. Interstellar campaigns, galactic campaigns, fuck it, you can read them yourself. There's a shit ton of stuff here, and I'm not going to read them all. There's quite a lot of stuff here. Tons of it. So, cultural heritage, I don't know what this stuff does. Hypercomms forum, I don't know what it does. Assembly algorithms repeatable technology now belongs to the engineering category instead of physics. Curious. Assembly algorithms is increased production speed, from what I remember, so that does kind of make sense. Frontier Initiative has been removed. Traditions has been removed. Collectives, commissars have been removed. Paradise Dome technology has been removed. Manifest Destiny has been removed. Manifest Destiny is not a... I could have sworn that is a growth border extrusion bonus, rare technology even. Propaganda transmission technology has been removed from the game. That's like the key starter tech right there. Buildings. Symbol of Unity and now produces 2 Unity and 5 Happiness. That's nice. Visitor centers now require a tradition. Paradise Dome now requires a tradition. That explains why all of those have been removed. Autochthon Monument is now a building that requires Unity. Heritage Site, Hypercom, Vault, Temple. I could have sworn Temple was already something that was in the game. Hollow Temple and the Citadel of the Faith are all new buildings that require Unity, and the Grand Mausoleum has been removed from the game. Cool. Traits, new Wasteful Trait and Conservational Trait has been added to the game. Decadent Trait now requires that one or Xenophobic Ethics. And finally, Components. Psionic Shields have been added to the game for those psionic that have dipped their fingers into the shroud. Warp confirmed. Alright, let's have a talk about the balance items as well. New World's Protocol is now a starting technology. Thank the gods for this. No longer will we have to spend all sorts of gimmicky shit in order to get this the colony ships up in orbit. Very happy about that. Core systems now have a base value from 5 to 3. You can only have 3 core systems unless you have modifiers in place, with new early and mid-game technologies and traditions to raise it. That right there is forcing you to do more sectors. Fascinating. Planets under construction do not count against the core sector system limit. Okay. When designing an empire, you must always pick the full amount of ethics points. I have done a little bit of munchkinning doing that. Capital buildings no longer produce food and minerals, but instead produce energy and unity. Food production of hydroponics farms has been increased to compensate. That is bullshit. That means you can no longer abuse the landing trick where you can get a shit ton of bonus food from the Capitol building. I guess the global food supply kind of helps with that, but still. Added interceptor ship sterns section for destroyers. It could change the balance on destroyers a little bit. I wonder what it does. Considering it's an interceptor, it probably is a bunch of small guns. Interesting. The maximum number of armies garrisoned on a planet now depends on its planet's size. 1 garrison slot per planet. That's kind of cool. That wasn't like that before, apparently. For Utopia only, Gene Warriors will only be part of the Engineered Evolution Ascension perk. And for Utopia as well, Psi armies only through Mind over Matter. Anomaly fail risk is no longer set manually based on the level of the anomaly. Abandoned. Okay, we'll disappear. Oh, that's actually really useful. Curator enclaves can no longer spawn with broken ring worlds. Yeah, that was a bug. I've had that one before. Pytharian dust on food output has been reduced from 20 to 10%. Pytharian dust has been nerfed into the ground. Thank you, Paradox. Still gonna have to redo that damn video. Talented trait reduced from 2 to 1. That's actually a pretty big one because that means you can get early talents up very quickly. Most event ships can no longer be upgraded. Double likelihood of triggering event horizon with assigned ships that enters a black hole system. Can no longer trigger event horizon by moving a science ship repeatedly into a black hole system. I like this one. There's a bigger spawn chance of horizon signal, but you can't force it manually. That's kind of funny. I like this one. Ships that are being repaired no longer have a mineral repair cost. Interesting. That changes quite a lot, actually. I have had situations where my economy is crippled because of this. Interesting. Strategic resources that affect weapon damage have had their effect increased to 15%. Weapon wind-up does not get cancelled when losing target during wind-up. Should fix XL weapons not to be able to fire due to moving targets. That's actually really useful for battleships. This could actually turn battleships into a super useful thing again over cruisers. Infiltration observation mission is now requiring gene tailoring. Infiltration observation is now active with active interference policy. That's cool. When infiltrating as primitive species, the world gets a large happiness bonus for 20 years. Yay, we're being annexed. The amount of non-defensive armies you can build from a species is now limited to the number of pops in your empire. Fleets that are violating border access can now instantly go MIA instead of trying to find a path home. That is fair. Pops saved from purging and slavery via conquest are now grateful instead of upset. I've had this happen as well. Makes a lot of sense. Let's see here. Masters Teaching the Greater Good Edict now increases build speed by 10% of reducing... Okay. Instead of reducing build time by 10%. Somebody in the comments has to explain that one to me. Infrastructure Projects Edict now increases build speed by 33% instead of build time by 25%. That is huge! Holy shit, you can just crank out planets super fast. Governor's Skills now increase building speed by 5%. It's the same story again. Architectural interest rate no longer reduces building cost or building in-game time, but rather increases building speed by 50%. Cool. Ethics no longer apply modifiers to pops, and instead only applies empire modifiers. Cool. There's a bunch of stuff here reduced by 50%. Egalitarian, which is a new... these are all new, actually. Authoritan. Effect on faction suppression cost removed. That's nice. Resettlement cost is now reduced by 25%, and slaves effect on unrest is reduced by 10%. And the fanatic variant is basically the same thing, but 50 and 20. Egalitarians, effects of policy happiness effects removed. Effects on migration attraction removed. Consumer goods cost now reduced by 10%. It's 20% in the Fnatic version. Influence from factions is now increased by 15%. This is actually rather useful. Planet border range effect. Oh wow, xenophobic border range has been increased by 5%. That's kind of crazy. And for Fnatic, it's 10%. Diplomatic influence costs minus 25. I guess that's okay. Militarists. Ship fire increased by 10% is kind of nice. Fnatic militarists, ship fire rates now increased by 20%. That's almost as good as just being a Fnatic militarists, a xenophobic empire with the fanatical purifiers is going to add a 20 plus 30% bonus on top of their standard firepower. That is a massive amount of things. Pacifist unity output is now increased by 20%. Fnatic is actually 40%. That's pretty big. Materialists, robot upkeep is reduced. That's actually kind of nice, especially on the Fnatic variant. Research speed by 10%. So that's kind of cool. Colonization and migration Double the base time it takes to... What? Are you serious? They doubled the base time it takes to colonize planets. That's insane. I hope they got an edict for it because, my God, especially now that they actually removed the migration terminal. That's just ridiculous. When a pop migrates to a new planet, it will get a happiness boost for 10 years. Only a single pop can now be migrating at a planet at any given time, so no longer en masse. Visitor center is not interesting. Slave processing, not interesting. Forlorn ruins. Primitive civilizations are now less common. Interesting. The enigmatic fortress system will now always have at least one potentially habitable planet. Very useful. Very useful. But it means you can colonize it and use it as an outpost to take down the enigmatic fortress. Fallen empires. Xenophobic fallen empires now angered specifically by encroaching colonies and frontier outposts instead of from border friction. Meaning they won't just declare war over natural border growth. Very useful. Very useful indeed. Okay. Subjects can now always colonize within their own borders. Very useful. It's now possible. Okay, protectorates. You can now declare war on them. Protectorates now work the same as vassals. Protectorates can now be integrated without them becoming a vassal. Praise the lords. I have waited so long for certain protectorates to become vassals so I can integrate them. It's just crazy. Atmospheric aphrodisiac modifier on growth time has been reduced to 10%. All right, from 30. Planetary modifier rate will always trigger the first year of colonization. Made a number of colony events for more common for the player. Cool. Some leader stuff. Not really interested. Technology. Pacifists no longer have chance of rolling weapon-related technologies. Everyone can now research and build the Research Institute, Symbol of Unity, Ministry of Benevolence, Galactic Stock Exchange as rare technologies. These used to be ethics-related. Symbol of Unity, militaristic, same thing for Benevolence, I think, and the Galactic Stock Exchange was materialistic from what I can remember. Okay, nutrient replication, effect on food, output's been changed. Automatic exploration protocols now required. As administrative AI instead of self-aware AI. That means you can use it a lot earlier in the game. That's very useful. Missiles have been changed. Cooldown has been improved. Armor penetration has been increased. Missile speed has been increased. They will now do damage versus shields. They have more HP. Actually, really good. It looks like missiles been bumped quite significantly. Liberate Wargore can no longer be used on fallen empires. Awakened empires are hive minds. Countries that can no longer conquer planets are now be able to conquer fallen empires. Planets belonging to subjects are now worth less war score. Planets removed belonging to subjects, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, basically awakened empires are a lot easier to conquer. They're already pretty easy to conquer war score wise in the base game, but this is pretty big. And there's going to be a tech for it as well, so that you can get better war score a lot quicker. AI, crises, issues with Swarm and Unbidden, getting stuck, thank fuck. Okay, that's good. I think it's time for us to do another simulation on the Unbidden as well as the Swarm, because they tend to get stuck. The Unbidden very rarely get to the second and third stage, and the Swarm just gets stuck. AI Swarm should now build fewer infestors. Interesting. Don't exactly know why that happens, because they very rarely even get them to begin with. Diplomacy, some bullshit here that is not really interesting. Maybe we can have something abused there. AI exploration, more competitive in early game growth. Sectors. All right, here we go. Completely overhauled sector AI budgeting, so that it should show it never unnecessarily accumulated resources when it has projects it could spend resources on. That sounds great. Added a new agricultural sector focus for food production. Cool. That makes sense with the food stuff. Added a tooltip in the sector view that tells you what the sector is planning to construct and how they are allocating. Okay, more transparency for sectors. Sectors will now put more focus on building robots, especially on planets with no biological pops. Cool. Then there's a bunch of GUI stuff. MISC is boss, is now fleet setting only. I'm not really interested in the added list of terraforming planets. Oh my god, I'm going to have so many of them. Different war philosophy, updated appearance, edicts, change research stuff, and not really added. What's this? Added game launch option. Buy-in. What is this? I'm going to have to test that. I wonder what that means. Buy-in. Weird. I'll have to take a look at that. I'm really curious. Some user modding stuff that is interesting to modders, clearly. Paradox always support those. Always very cool. Performance. Improved performance on having one big fleet selected. For those that have watched any of my series, you know this is a problem. Pop migration, threading calculations, economy calculations, frame rate improvements in many GUI views, especially in the mid to late game. Fix a severe lag spike that can happen in some rare cases when the AI is calculating diplomatic actions to propose. That's cool. Then there is a metric fuckton of bug fixes. Very happy with that. Sector, fix it at spaceports, maintain, okay, that's fine. Events, okay. There is a bug where events could spawn pops with no name and portrait. I've had that happen. Horizon signal not affecting, okay, interesting. When several cases of a precursor anomalies generating will not spawn the anomalies. Improve reliability of the old gods chain. Don't know what that is. Fix localization, fix second horizon signal not terminating, correcting. Artisan troops will no longer ask to take in pops if they have low habitability. Nomads, same story there. Causing the enigmatic fortress to catastrophically explode will turn uninhabitable planets into molten worlds rather than tomb worlds. I fucking called it. Ah, that is joyous. I specifically requested that. It's good to see that. Very happy that no more tomb worlds, they will now be molten worlds. You can no longer abuse the enigmatic fortress to turn them into tomb worlds. Gas giants will not change. This is giving me a smile. That's good. Pops from certain tomb worlds related events will now have their habitability set correctly. Fix unintentional behavior and outcomes of Zeke's Ziggy fight. Yeah, I've had some interesting thing. I ran the Horizon Signal event like 24 times before I did the video on it. A redirected delivery of Nomad ships. I've never actually done that. Missing event reward with ancient mining drones. Building, okay. Fix missing species names in events related to shielded planets. Never done anything with that. Fix Deus Volt achievement, ignoring spiritualist requirement. Apparently that was broken. There's a bunch of interface stuff. Okay. You can read that for yourself. But yeah, that is it. That is the patch notes for Utopia and 1.5 banks. It was a bit of a slog. But there we have it. Everything's there. You've got my opinion and things that I am happy about. A lot of videos will be going up soon. Very soon, actually. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. Utopia is coming.